never seen them in any of the controllers unless they were a 5E or a 5EE. So if somebody said I have a compact RAID array, or I have a HP, or I have a IBM RAID controller, now you're looking at 5E and EE, and those are write arrays. And so they are not going to be in any of the NAS boxes, and they are not going to be in any of the low-end controllers. They're not in High Point, they're not in Adaptec, they're not in AMI, they're not in any of the low-end controllers that are like sub $1,000. So you won't see them at all. So I can almost completely say, if somebody did not say I had PERC, no, PERCs are not even those. PERCs are actually still synchronous ace, right, left synchronous, there's no rights. So at least from that standpoint, if you're not talking about IBM or any of those others, they're going to be left.
So we're down to 2 options.
So you're going to take 2 options right off the table. So some of the things you know right now. You know which one's the first drive? MBR. You know it's only going to be 2 options for the 2, either left or right. There's no rights. You're only going to have 2 options for lefts. And then you have options for your slice size. So when you're looking at your options for your slice size, you could have an 8K all the way up to a 2000K. So at this point in time, you could have small slice up to a very large slice. This is not common for you to have these many options in almost all of the controllers. A lot of the low-end controllers, not every one, like a PERC has some crazy options that you can still do, but if you know what your controller is, if you even knew that, you could look up what your options are. So if you knew that you have a High Point controller or something like that, or a Adaptec controller, then you know that you may be limited to 32K to 512. So you could eliminate those right away. I will tell you, almost every one of them that some IT guy did not mess with is probably 64K. Almost always. Now the IT guy gets his, you know, I'm setting it up, oh, it would be cool if it was 8K. Well, then you're going to have to play with that. If you have a Lacey, it's going to be 64, 128, 256, or 512. It could be any of those. If you have pretty much anything else, most of the others are going to be 64 or 128. So if you stick with 64 as the base and you start with 64, then you can figure it out as you go through between those things. So almost always, unless it says it's LaC, then you have your choices are 64K, 128K, and then in the LaCs you have 256 and 512 as 2 more options for the size. So this is almost always. Then you have left. So you have left asynchronous and left synchronous. So you have those